I don't get why I'm having bitrate issues lately. Something weird going on. Something weird going on. I lowered it down. I don't know if it can. Probably doesn't affect midstream, but my internet has been garbage lately. Garbage. Oh, it's almost, yeah, they're stabilizing. Stabilizing, maybe. There we go. Green, yellow, red. I don't understand it. Alright, put more monitor in place. I don't think I have anything else going on. No. Why is that popping up? Oh, those are good. Yeah, sorry, give me a moment here. Having some issues with internet stability. Alright. Are we good? No. No. It's jumping all around. God damn it. Alright. Don't. What the hell is going on? Sorry, I'm still waiting for things to stabilize here. I'm gonna have to run some tests. Call a little company. What is? I don't understand why this is. Why I'm getting lost right now. It could be the weather. Back to the lines. Okay, let's go. Whatever. Detective Vu is on the case. Oh, I just made a mess. Hold on.
Aye, detective.
Detective. Okay, that was dumb. That was dumb. Yeah, dude, I'm definitely having internet issues, but I think these are stabilized. I'd like
Is
to
that
search the
really
history.
necessary? The murderer remains at large, and there is still no sign of the weapon. I would say that makes them essential.
Of course. I still just cannot imagine any of them being guilty of his murder.
Yeah, because you killed him, Archie. You're
It's
in on
really
it.
hard to
I know that.
imagine, but it is the truth.
Nothing. But I was so preoccupied with the Major. Sorry, Detective. Should I have?
Perhaps it was just my mind playing games again.
Maybe one of the guests got lost and wandered in. Master Hagen had a key, obviously, and Lady Vandenbosch.
And you did. Yeah, exactly. Archibald, you also had a key.
When requested, aye. If something is required from there when Master Hagen is not around.
Forgive me. If he is not around, how is it you access the safe?
It's not what you think, Detective.
What I think is that you have been trusted with a copy of the key, and you have lied to me about it.
I only lied because of the trouble I can get into with Lady Vandenbosch.
Sure you had, murderer.
At this moment, monsieur, you should be more worried about the trouble you shall find yourself in with the law.
I know how it will sound, but I lost my key. I must have set it down somewhere, and it has been tidied away. Master Hagen asked so rarely for me to go in the safe, I didn't think it would be missed.
Yep, you're lying. Monsieur Sterling's story of his lost key strikes me as rather coincidental. The Major's safe is broken into with documents ransacked and letters involving Madame von de Bajache. Secret left out. It is a crime with no apparent purpose.
I should have said this morning. I'm sorry.
Monsieur, I am not quite sure you understand the severity of what has happened.
I am well aware, Detective. I just thought she would be able to help.
Would you allow a man with a smoking gun to remove his bullet from a victim's chest?
I suppose not.
I understand that Monsieur Sterling was only trying to help, but surely he must have seen what it would be for the integrity of my investigation.
I would like to begin my searches now. Since it is closest, I will start with the west wing.
I may not be back when you return. Here is the key to the other rooms. Please return it when you're done.
How about
Merci.
I search your room, Archie?
I shall guard it with my...
Yeah, we should definitely look at Archie's room, because he's definitely involved in this shit. Definitely. Okay, I assume this is west because we don't have a compass. This is east. Super helpful. So this is the new room for sure.
Entrez.
Comtesse's room. It would be rather to not address her before searching the room. Be rude not to address her. Yeah, but I'm kind of a rude asshole, so maybe I should look around.
Detective, what a pleasure. I did not expect to see you in my chambers.
In a purely professional capacity, I can assure you.
There is no need to act so stiff, Detective.
Madame, after the revelation of your actions last night, I'm afraid my sense of humor is all but gone.
I will not apologize again for merely trying to help. Shall we get straight to it then? Let us not waste your time any further, Detective. We wouldn't be doing a very good job if I could only help one girl. I in fact found work for one of them as a maid in Monsieur da Silva's house recently.
She has fitted into Monsieur's home well.
What is better, detective? That she remained in an abusive house, or she is able to rebuild her life with an honest wage in a prosperous house?
I thought you didn't like Da Silva, though.
When put like that. Is she happy in her position?
The happiest she has been in years. I check in with them all as often as possible. And if there was a problem, I would know. That would be Inga. She has been one of the most promising young women that has come from the shelter.
Oh, so Inga came from the shelter.
Madame
to here.
Vandenbosch took in a young lady from your shelter.
There is no need to sound so surprised, detective. She does have a heart.
I did not mean to sound so cruel. I just did not expect Madame to hire someone of that background after the incident with her previous maid, Florette.
People change, detective. You should not judge someone on their past actions.
Believe me, Countess, I know that only too well.
Be careful, detective. That almost sounded like a compliment.
It is your actions in this house that have been questionable, Madame. Your work outside is something that many more could take note of.
We do what we can.
Merci, Madame. Hmm. Hmm. Huh. Hmm.
There are way too many grandfather clocks in this house.
Ah. Oh. Ah. Aha.
Well, this was a waste of my time. Apparently I have to stay in here until I figure it out what's going on. And we have no connections.
Go ahead, detective. A compliment and now an apology. Well, detective, you certainly have changed your tune.
There was something I was still unsure of. You mentioned that your training was some years ago.
From my days as a nurse, oui.
If that is so, why would you have brought several pieces of equipment usually found in a physician's bag?
One must always be prepared, detective.
Yeah, suspicious.
At an engagement celebration.
If I had not brought them, I would not have been able to assist you last night. Perhaps you should be thankful for my precaution and not so suspicious.
And had she not brought them at all, I would not have to ask such a question.
Merci, Madame.
Merci, madame. Alright, do I have anything? There we go. To the next bedroom. The ever-guarded Jacqueline Jackie Conrad. It is time I should question her on the conversation with the major before searching her room.
Detective, what can I do for you?
Mademoiselle, I am sure you understand my reasoning for such intrusion.
If it's going to clear my name, be my guest.
If you wouldn't mind answering some questions, it can hopefully be cleared faster.
Like I said, he's not the man he wants everyone to think he is.
Oui, But how is it you came to that conclusion?
You don't really want me to recount every conversation I've had with him, do you?
There is one particular I had in mind.
An argument would imply it was a two-way conversation.
And that is not how it was?
Here it is. I've been helping Angeline get exposure, her marriage to Gideon is big news, and his work is really paving the way for others. I saw the chance to get their names out there, and he didn't like it.
What was there not to like?
Your guess is as good as mine, Detective. But if I had to, I'd say he was jealous it wasn't his name at the top of the article.
And his reason to storm off?
Oh, you know about that. Let's just say I didn't accept his pathetic attempt to get me to stop the story. If you're gonna try and pay someone off, at least make it worth their while.
But the Major would only be supportive of Mademoiselle Angeline. There must be more to why he would not want their success to be known. I'm sure you have grown wary of the subject, but Monsieur Beckers.
You've really got a fascination with that guy, huh?
I would not say fascination. An interest, perhaps.
Well, I'll save you the bother of trying to find out more about him. He's not that interesting. In fact, he's a bit of a wimp if you ask me.
That is not the impression I got of him.
That's because you've only seen the side of him he wants you to. He knows what to say in front of the right people. But behind closed doors, he's clueless.
In what way?
Let me guess. The first thing he told you was that he was a union leader. No, the voice of the people.
A man that is proud of his work is not something to be sneered at.
Don't get me wrong, he has a way with words, and he can certainly rally a crowd. But that's about it. At the end of the day, he's a representative and nothing more. He's got to play the part, not just learn the lines.
Mademoiselle does not think particularly highly of Monsieur Beckers. She's a strong, independent woman, but to use the term wimp is an unnecessary attack on his character.
Merci, mademoiselle.
Sure thing, Detective.
If I do change it...
All right. Let's do some snooping. It's a gramophone. Cool. Newspaper. A recent article by Jackie Conrad about the riots in Ernesto's factory. Workers laid down their tools. Reports have not confirmed. Sources state that the violence broke out following a second wave surge of supporters. The Workers' Frontline has been considered as a representation of the people and working class of Belgium, and now refuse to work in such demanding conditions. Chief Commissioner Leroy has confirmed that the outbreak of violence and resultant civilian deaths are being investigated. An official statement is to be made in the coming days. Jackie Conrad. Okay, we already searched in there. Oh, a knife. Interesting knife choice. Jackie.
Aha.
Mr. Artigue spotted leaving the Velvet Tickle Friday at 23:15. Cambry House has been poaching off neighboring land. Boar, deer, and duck. Maggie to follow up. Mr. Ponte found her husband in the marital bed with a young maidservant. Testament from maid needed. Mr. Denault overheard in the cackling crows speaking poorly of King Leopard. Leopold. I mean, same thing. He said questionable ideas. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No one cares. Alright, you are as worthless as everyone else. Thank you, Jackie. Apparently I need to talk to you again.
Go right ahead, Detective.
I was surprised to learn Monsieur de Silva and the Major worked together.
All Felix cared about was money and filling his pockets with it.
I know.
That's why he got into bed with De Silva.
It's gone, and I got a terrible haircut because I forgot how to properly describe my hair. So, yeah. It's gone. Blame Dutch Deluxe. He redeemed me cutting my hair. It's terrible, dude. Like, what is this? There's no... It's terrible. It's terrible. But I appreciate you not telling me it's terrible, but it's bad.
The Major was not in need of money, though.
Need and want are two very different things. Did he need to move here and leech off the Madame? No, but he wanted to.
Yeah, because his daughter was here. Would you have
As
figured
far
out,
as
Jackie?
I know, De Silver hired him to work security. He was worried what could happen to his precious factories if things got ugly.
And your reporters were there to cover the story when it did turn that way.
My reporters go where there is news to be told.
And you predicted the violence that occurred?
Anyone could see that was gonna happen. If you ask me, Hugo should have acted sooner.
Merci, mademoiselle.
You are all worthless. People talk to him. Here we are in Mademoiselle Angelina and Gideon's room. I wonder what we shall find.
Huh.
Very clean. Very, very clean. Ah, panties. Very nice panties in here.
Oh.
They seem very nice together. Gideon and his brother. Yeah, fire. What is with this game and these clocks? No one ever has had this many grandfather clocks.
Ah.
Or even these drink globes.
Aha.
It's just like lazy programming. Like, oh, we have this model. Let's just throw it everywhere. They didn't need to do because it's a fairly okay game. Not all the bullshit. Oh, sorry, I got hiccups. Without the west guest room searched, I should make my way to the guest rooms on the east of the first floor. There must be evidence of collusion somewhere. You're a goddamn genius. Alright, let's go to the major study first, I guess. Even though we've been here about 60 times. It's the major. He's a zombie. No. That would have been pretty cool, though. Nothing. Okay, here we go. Scrap paper.
Huh.
What else did I miss? What's this? Achievement. Return to the scene of the crime alone for a second time. I know. What a superb achievement. Going back to the place with no evidence to find. Goddamn genius. I thought this room connected to his room, but it doesn't. Study is separate. His room is around the corner. Okay, wait. Oh, this is the second floor. Okay. There is confusion why those other two girls had rooms on the second floor. I thought everyone was supposed to be on the first floor. So that's interesting.
Aha.
Oh, okay. Apparently they were on this floor. Okay. I was zooping around. Should be the library. Yep. Okay. Inge.
We meet again.
Bonjour, Monsieur Poirot. Pardon, Détective Poirot.
Just a detective is quite all right.
Bon, can I help you with something?
It was you that alerted the house to the Major's body, was it not?
I was taking him a plate of food, but he didn't answer to my knocking.
You then entered the study.
I did. He wasn't moving. He just lay there.
I did not mean to upset you again. Seeing him there would be troubling for anyone, and I'm sure it is not a memory you wish to relive.
Tell me about your relationship with the other
I
staff.
suppose we're like a family. We argue, but most of the time we get along.
You must all be quite close, then.
Some more than others.
You refer to whom, mademoiselle?
Well, Maman Ray, sorry, Rihanna, she's been here the longest, and she's very close with Lizzie on account of Luke.
How is it that Mademoiselle Elizabeth's late fiancé connects them?
Maman Ray is Luke's sister. You did not know that?
Oh, interesting.
I thought she would have said. She talks about him all the time. It must have been awful, losing him in those riots.
So Luke died in the riots. Interesting.
Apparently, he was right at the front when they were charged. They didn't stand a chance. If I had been the one responsible for his death, I wouldn't want Maman Ray looking for me.
Mademoiselle Rihanna, Maman Ray, she has expressed her desire for revenge.
Every time she talks about what happened.
How is it that the knowledge of Luke's death has been eluding me for so long? The death of her brother is certainly motive enough. I did not see an aggressive side to Mademoiselle Rihanna when we spoke, but I wonder if she would act on such impulses for revenge the opportunity arose. You do not mind me inquiring what brought you to the woman's shelter?
I guess you wouldn't know anything about life on the streets.
It is not an experience I have had to face personally, but I understand that many are forced into it.
The lifestyle of a thief, you mean?
Put rather bluntly, oui.
You are the first officer that has not taken one look at me and pulled out their handcuffs.
Mademoiselle, I can see you have turned your life around, and I commend you on your efforts.
Without the Countess, I would probably be rotting in a cell somewhere.
Merci, mademoiselle.
There is some new mind map information. Okay, may seem nothing more than a young innocent maid, but there's something that she's withheld. If I'm to solve the cases before me, I must to learn what it is. You literally know what it is. We literally just talked about it. You are not very smart, dude. Apparently, I need some more information to understand the very obvious connection. I wonder if Monsieur Zachariah is as seemingly innocent as his brother. I should speak with him before searching the room.
Monsieur Demir, I hope you are feeling better today.
Nothing a good night's sleep couldn't fix.
Très bien. I wonder if you would be up to discussing certain matters with me.
Whatever you need.
Sorry if dealing with the Major's body brought up any familiar emotions.
I lost my taste for death a long time ago, but it had to be done. I'm certainly in no rush to be carrying a dead body again, though.
Most understandable. I shall extend the same gratitude to you as I did to your brother.
Yeah, especially when your brother definitely murdered him.
You've spoken to him already. How is he?
Perhaps that should be a question you ask him yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
I spoke with your brother about your
I
past.
bet he had a lot to say. He always did have an opinion on the war.
When I say your past, I refer to your past as brothers.
Oh. Okay, well, what did he say?
It seems you both had the same sentiment for this party. Perhaps the bridges that you thought were once burnt are in fact primed to be reconstructed.
We'll see how probable that reconstruction is going to be. Until he sees my point of view, I don't know how we can move forward.
What is there for him to understand before the bond can be repaired?
He lost his friends in the war, the same as everyone. But somehow he has forgiven. I'm sorry, Detective, I can't. And Gideon just doesn't understand that.
After speaking with Monsieur Gideon about his brother's state of mind, I think the best thing for them both would be a reconciliation. There is something about Monsieur Zachariah's story that is leaving out, though. The death of his friends and comrades weighs heavy on him. Monsieur Zachariah, your brother was talking with the Comtesse while in the saloon. I was not aware they were close.
Those two, close.
They must share something in common to be able to hold a conversation for the time they did.
If there is one thing I know about my brother, it's that he will not. No. He cannot be rude. He just doesn't have it in him.
Was it not your brother that punched Monsieur Hagen?
Ah, that's different. He was asking for it. If you put my brother in a room with 5 socialites like her, he would work his way around every single one of them, offering his full attention and finest manners.
Merci for your assistance.
As useless as ever.
Ah.
Cigarettes. Super useful. It might be useful later, actually.
Huh.
And a fireplace. Everyone has a fireplace. An ornamental dagger from Zachariah's time in the war. Very sharp. Stabby like.
Oh.
Ooh, a window. We don't have many of these in the 1910s. I'm assuming it's 1910s. Alright, you have been... Oh, apparently I have something to ask you. I don't know if that is. But we do have a connection. What do we have here? We have a pocket knife. Gideon's room is pristine. Zachary says Gideon was polite to Margot. Cigarette butts. I don't know why these would connect. They are right above each other.
Is there something I am not seeing?
Jackie thinks Hugo was slow to react. That's useless. See, this is part of the game that should be good, but is very meh. Is it the 2 weapons?
I must take a different approach if...
Being prepared. Down to these 2, but...
I must act on thought.
What? Margot was allowed to see the body. Margot came prepared, maybe?
Come, my little grey cells.
Should have been paying
see
more
the logic.
attention. We're back in one of those connections that's annoying.
Order and method.
I don't think
That-
it was these 2. Jackie thinks Hugo was slow to react. Haven't even talked to Hugo yet, so it's likely not that one. We have links anywhere else? No, we have one link here somewhere. Alright, Archibald allowed Margot to check the body, key to the west wing. Gideon's room is pristine. Something to do with these two?
This will not get me
No.
any closer. I must take a different approach. Another success. I never doubted myself.
So Zachary is hesitant to reconcile with Gideon, but there's a photo, and that's somehow a connection. They're unlikely to corroborate because of this. Why? They have a picture, but they have different opinions, so they would not cooperate in murder. I don't get it. I don't get the whole massive assumption this game
Always
makes.
got time for my favorite detective.
There's a particular item I found while conducting my search.
The dagger. I wondered how long it would take for that to become an issue.
Sure, the dagger.
I shall give you the opportunity to explain the reason for it being here before I jump to any conclusions.
It was going to be a wedding gift for Gideon. I've maybe not been the best brother in recent years. I thought this could make up for some of it. After what happened to the Major, I thought it was a bit tasteless.
You did not see it fitting to tell me you were harboring a rather sizable knife in your room?
I wouldn't say harboring. And I wasn't expecting to be a suspect in a murder.
Merci for your assistance, monsieur.
Yeah. This game can be rather... what do they say? Dumb? Having a knife in your room does not seem much of a thing. Monsieur Becker's room. Without him here, I'm free to search it. Like, I've never read any of the books, so I don't know if these are based off the actual stories of Agatha Christie.
Oh.
I know some of the Sherlock Holmes ones, they have pretty much based off the original stories, but...
Huh.
Hasty scribble of Ricardo meeting with whom I assume Ernesto. Curious. Curious indeed. A note, because apparently no one can put things into a fire. It seems he has been attempting to write a speech of some kind, unsuccessfully though. I wonder, does this fit a pattern of behavior with Hugo? You underestimate the power of man's defiance. Your men, you are in position to bring all of this to an end. All we ask is what we deserve. If you do not retract your men, they will meet with equal force. Too forceful. Your weapons may beat their bodies, but they will not bruise our hearts, spirits. These are the men that have built our great nation country and will continue to. Money will not save your soul. Yeah, he's a pansy.
Oh.
The window he could have jumped out of. Room with a view. Oh, there's an achievement for this. I inspected all the windows in the game. Amazing. So Hugo had 7 siblings, maybe 5. That included his parents. Are we done here? Okay, great. We have to make another dumbass assumption. Oh, okay. Maybe these because Major only care about money.
Is there something I...
No. Of course not. Hugo with failed speeches. Oh, slow to react. Maybe these two.
Some would say a lucky guess.
Some would say randomness. Jackie thinks Hugo's a dipshit. Would he collaborate with someone else? It's gotta be these that link.
Order and method. That... Magnifique.
Hugo and Ernesto confirm each other's alibis. It's possible that they may have colluded to murder the Major. I don't know how. Was that Ernesto? Okay. Okay, it's because the meeting was with Ernesto. Sure. Sure thing. This is minded Monsieur de Silva's room. He's present, but I must begin the search. So that means I don't have to actually talk to him first? That would be helpful. Ooh, a fireplace. Such an amazing thing to search. He is a slob, has a typewriter, and he has a gramophone. What is he listening to? Yeah, this is as
Monsieur de
mediocre
Silva,
of a game
I
as
am
you can
sure
get.
you understand the necessity for this type of search.
Not really, Detective. Your speech was rather spirited. But it did not give me much faith in your investigation.
I have not had my abilities questioned to my face by one of those I suspect of a crime before.
Well, if you wish to prove me wrong, you should hurry up and find Felix's killer.
And I hope, with your help, monsieur, I shall.
Madame Van de Bosch spoke of your work with her late husband.
Yes, I helped him invest some money. Unfortunately, he was not the businessman he thought he was.
Madame Van den Bosch had a very similar view. At least he could have taken solace that you were both in the same position.
I think you're confused, Detective. It was Edwin that lost his fortune, not I.
Forgive my naivete. If you were helping him make viable investments, would you not have seen the same opportunity for yourself?
I told him about the opportunities. I did not tell him to put his whole family's wealth into it. The prospect of doing good meant more to him than his profit margins. He was bound to fail.
The business declared bankruptcy.
It did, until it was purchased for a fraction of its worth and made the new owner a small fortune.
I am beginning to see Monsieur de Silva's more ruthless side. It sounds as though Viscount was trying to at least make a positive change, but perhaps he was missing de Silva's cutthroat edge. What we spoke of last night regarding Madame Van de Bosch.
Everything that I want to say on that matter has already been said.
I understand, monsieur. But what I would like to know is, was the late Viscount aware of your feelings towards his wife?
Excuse me, Detective, but you have crossed the line.
Crossed the line like an attempt to bankrupt a business partner and friend so that you be able to swoop in and impress a certain target of your affections.
You make such ridiculous accusations without a shred of proof.
Yeah, you are
Your reaction
an
at the
idiot,
mere
P.
suggestion is proof enough, monsieur. While I cannot arrest you for betrayal of a friend, I can hope your conscience does not forget, and that will be punishment enough.
I hate this protagonist. He is an idiot. Like, this is based on the books. These are not great books. Monsieur de Silva's actions are not a criminal offense, but if there was a penalty for deception and deceit, he would surely receive a life sentence. He has gone to such lengths before. What would stop him from committing a similar act again? This time, to the Major. I know you have worked with the Major, but what do you know of his
He didn't
finances?
have much to speak of. I was always surprised at the life he lived.
Surprised in what way?
Well, considering it wasn't that long ago he came to me asking about work, I didn't think he was in such good financial shape.
You offered him a position.
Nothing that he was willing to lower himself to. That's when he began talking about what else he could do for me.
The Major worked security for your factories.
If you can call what him and his team did security. For the money I paid, I did not expect them to be so reckless.
Yeah, probably murdering workers.
It was a considerable amount you paid him?
There's no need to divulge amounts, but it was certainly more than was expected.
Tell me.
He said they
about
were
Scary.
all professionals, but I saw nothing of the sort. He said he had worked with them all in the army as their superior officer. They were men that could be trusted.
But that was not the case?
I had not even met them before they arrived on site. They brought their own equipment. They looked like they knew what they were doing.
And this equipment, it included the weapons that injured and killed the workers?
It was not much of a choice, Detective. I said they didn't need them, but Felix said it was essential. He said he knew better.
The more Monsieur talks, the shadier thing his dealings with the Major became. It made it sound as though the riots were no accident.
That is all for now.
You are not smart. Can I play someone else in this game? You are an idiot.
Aha.
At first, you may question the nature of this letter, but by its conclusion, you will know that you have fought so hard to keep hidden to be far from it. You have spent the years feeding off the hard-working backs of others and offering nothing in return. Your workers continue to lay their lives down. Your workers continue to take their lives into their own hands day after day with their shady, damaged, and dangerous machines for a fraction of what they deserve. Deal after deal is made while your pockets become fatter, lining them with more of your blood money. The mistreatment and pain you have caused does not only reside in the factories that you own, but the house that you live in. You no longer sit back and watch as you disregard any sense of integrity or morality, and continue to remain on your self-made pedestal, lording over those that deserve so much more. It is time that you paid 5,000 francs, a blah blah blah, pay it to certain places. I'm strong. I have to talk to him about this. Can I hard pass? Hard pass? Hard pass.
What is...
I have spoken of a potential blackmail ring, and yet you still kept your letter to yourself.
It is none of your business. And it is nothing more than a cheap trick to have me admit something that is not true.
Yeah, totally.
If that were the case, it would be strange for you to have kept the letter and brought it with you, would it not?
Your persistence is a trait I do not enjoy.
Kick him in the balls. Monsieur de Silva has remained blunt, if not curt, with his responses to my questions. Perhaps it would be best to act in a courteous and empathetic manner so that he may be more forthcoming with the truth of the letter and its contents. Alright, so do I go with, there must be a reason you thought justified behind it, justified hiding it. You do not have to enjoy it, Monsieur, but you must answer to it. We'll go with the straightforward.
No reason, Detective. Merely saving you from wasting your time.
I will be the judge of that. I would like to know about any and all evidence that may help my investigation. I trust there is nothing else you deem a waste of my time.
Of course not, officer. It's not as though you think I'm harboring some illicit secret. The letter was a pathetic attempt to intimidate me. Nothing more.
Alright, so condemning deal after deal is made, and while your pockets become fatter, lying with more and more of your blood money. I don't think that's the direction we're gonna go. You do not value the lives of those that allow you to live the opulent life you do. I'm going with concern. They both seem like shitty responses, but I'm thinking to push the you do not value the lives. Yeah.
I have never heard so much rubbish in all my life. I value those that work hard and deserve it.
That suggests there are some that you do not respect.
Yes, well, why should I praise someone for doing a poor job? You make me sound like some monster.
Monsieur, the letter does not only discuss your questionable business dealings, but also cases of abuse against your staff. Both accusations that must be taken very seriously.
Detective, there is a difference between telling a member of my staff what to do and abuse.
And it is you that decides where that line is drawn?
In my house? Yes, it is.
Do you have any ideas as to which staff member may have expressed their abuse?
Please stop calling it that. I treat all my servants exactly how I always have, and no one has complained before.
That does not mean your behavior is appropriate.
They have one chance. If they are not doing the job they are hired to do, they are gone. You would be surprised how many staff expect an easy ride.
I did not expect Monsieur to treat his staff the same as his friends, but I also did not expect him to treat them like stray dogs.
Is there a specific member of staff that may have expected such a ride?
There is one girl, a new maid. I didn't expect great things from her, but Comtesse de Vos promised me she could do what was required.
Oh, is it, what's her face?
That is all for now.
Alright, that was waste of time, I think. Major confesses love for Cassandra, that's not it. Ernesto employed the servant of a woman's shelter. He got the job from Margot. Ernesto mistreating the employees. Ernesto employed a servant. These two?
This will not get me any closer.
Maybe with Inge?
Come, my little grey cells. We must think
Not those who connect.
What a revelation!
Margot is making her shelter girls do the dirty work, find dirt on members of the social elite. Apparently, Margot has networks of helpers. Sure. This game doesn't make me feel really dumb. I guess. Maybe. It's like it almost has good design, but like it's right on the edge of like kind of they're fooling themselves. Contract for a partnership between Ernesto and Hugo. Hugo's signature is missing. So the strike stops. Operators return to work. And terms are basically enacted. Okay. That's it? And nothing to indicate what the terms were?
Aha.
So that was... super useful.
Hmm.
A letter opener that could stab someone.
What did...
Were you expecting some correspondence this week?
Excuse me? Detective, I think you are beginning to lose your mind.
I do not think it is unreasonable to question why you would feel the need to bring a letter opener with you.
Really, Detective? If I had stabbed a man with it, do you really think I would have left it lying out in my room?
Yeah. It's dumb. I don't know why I asked that question, but I had to because it was a question on the board. Monsieur Demire invited Beckers so that you two might sit down and find some common ground.
Yes, and no one asked them to.
But surely it is beneficial to both parties. Your profits must have been affected.
There are barely any profits to speak of.
Why have those talks not taken place and a deal arranged?
Monsieur Beckers has made no attempt to speak with me and offered no counter-offer. The ball is in his court, Detective.
Although it's Del Silva's wages and treatment of his staff that is in question, it sounds as if though he is at least trying to resolve the issue. Surprising, unlike Mr. Beckers.
That is all for now.
Yeah. Oh, great. I have to... We got some other dumb connection here. Something to do with Hugo, I'm guessing. Scrap paper.
I must act on thought. I cannot see the logic in this.
Okay, we have a partially signed contract. Hugo is lazy. And these two?
Come, my little gray cells.
He may conclude with Ernesto.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
What is this for? Make 125 deductions. Yay. Hugo and Ernesto seem unlikely to conclude, really? They actually seem
The pieces of the
very
puzzle
likely
are
to-
finally...
Ernesto may have asked Margot for help. Apparently I need to touch Ernesto.
What is it?
Get it.
She approached me. I thought it was rather brash.
In what way?
Assuming that I would want to take on another servant, and one from such a troubled background. She is running the charity, not I.
Monsieur, there's something you're keeping from me. Your business relationship with Major was obviously towing the line of legality.
When he came to me, I told him that with the factories on strike and my profits pouring down the drain, I had nothing for him. But he said he could help me get them all back to work and the factories earning. His rates were steep, but he said he knew what needed to be done, and he was prepared to do it. A week passed and they were all still on strike. In fact, even more had joined them. He made excuse after excuse, demanding more and more money for the job to be done. But he never actually told me what he was going to do.
The riots.
I had no idea they were going to charge them like that. How was I meant to know?
And even following such a tragedy, he continued to demand money from you.
He said if he wanted my silence, it would cost. Do you have any idea what it could do to my livelihood, my name? If it got out that I had paid the so-called security that did that.
I have every idea, monsieur. You hired a militia to take action against your own workers. You deserve whatever name is chosen for being so morally bereft in your decision-making.
I didn't know that was what he was going to do. You must believe me.
I don't.
I have to believe nothing but the truth. And the truth, monsieur, is that it is not only the Major that has the blood of those men on his hands. That is all for now.
Wrong. It was actually Lieutenant Dam on his shrimp ship in the sea with the shrimp ship.
Things are beginning to become clear.
Yeah, this game has such a grand idea with concept, because I've seen that they did the same idea in one of the latest Sherlock games. But you gotta make sure it makes sense. Like, half these connections are just, they don't make any sense. Oh, did we complete this? Thank God. Can I never talk to any of these people again? Run away! And this main character is the worst, too. He's so full of himself. Like, he's worse than any Sherlock Holmes character. Like, I have never read an Agatha Christie's novel, so I don't know if his character is supposed to be this kind of a blowhard, but this guy's pretty fucking terrible. Oh, Satisfactory, man.
Huh.
It's just one of the satisfying games. I'm a mathematical mind, so I like that idea. And basically, I want to tear down everything right now. I think I'm up to level 4 right now. And I'm like, I just want to tear everything down and start from scratch. I got my oil rigs in place. I have like 3 coal steam power plants. Tell me about your true relationship with the Countess.
She helped me at the shelter and with this job.
Factorio looks too complicated. Oxygen Not Included is another one I love. But I look at Factorio and I don't see it being fun. I should probably pick it up. And play it, but it just doesn't look fun from the outside, looking at pictures.
That I am already aware of. What I am not is what else she tasked you with.
Pardon, detective?
I know that your position as a servant in this house is not your only job. What did...
She said I had to do what she asked, or I would be back on the street. I didn't want to do it. If anyone found out, I would be the prime suspect.
Madame de Bosch would have been aware of young Inga's past. She's worried that she would accuse her. What she asked of her must be related to her past as a thief.
Merci, mademoiselle.
Alright, is there some other bullshit I have? Oh god, some other stupid link I have to make. Inga was previously prosecuted. And Archwell lost his key.
Is there something
No. Something with the safe access?
I must act on thought. Another success.
Inga was admitted that her work in the house is not wholly honest. Inga is a assistant with a thief. Thieveries.
I cannot see the logic in this. The pieces of the puzzle of...
The key was stolen. Cool. Inge, where's the key?
Is there something you need, detective?
What was it that Comtesse asked you to steal from the house?
Nothing. She said I was to take nothing.
If it was not something she wished you to take, what was it?
She wanted me to find out information about the family and Monsieur Hagen.
Why did she request that?
At first I didn't know, but when I heard about Mademoiselle Angeline being blackmailed, and then the Major, I knew she had used what I found.
So perhaps my suspicions of Monsieur Sterling's involvement. The Major's safe was incorrect, and his key was not lost, but stolen.
I knew Monsieur Archie had a key, and it would be easy to get it from him.
You knew that the Major asked Monsieur Sterling to access the safe from time to time, and if anything was ever discovered missing, he would surely take the blame.
I never took anything. I only told the Comtesse what I had found.
And that was?
About Monsieur Hagen and the Madame's relationship, and Angeline.
I'm sure the Comtesse was pleased to hear such valuable information.
She said I had done a good job, but I needed proof. That's why I went back and got the letters last night.
So you got the letters from the safe, but how did you get the key? When I returned to the study this morning, the letters remained out and the safe open.
I fetched the letters again and took them to the Comtesse last night. But she shouted at me and said what a stupid girl I was.
You were only doing as she requested.
She said it was too dangerous for her to have them with you around. That's when I returned them to the study. I thought I heard someone on the stairs, so I just threw them back. It was dark as I dared not turn the light on. Someone would have seen it.
But I thought you did not have the key. But you had the key. None of this makes sense.
Merci, mademoiselle.
I have so many more questions.
Order and method. That...
Oh. Give us gather with information. Like, what is this connection? I don't even know. This
will
one's
not get me
it's
any...
gonna be another dumb one. Like, there's 400 these can connect to. I don't know. Sure, let's do this. Probably not.
I must take a different approach if I am...
Archibald, there's nothing was moved. With the safe.
Come, my little Grace.
Safe, wait, safe access. You can get access to the safe? Maybe these two?
This will not get me any closer.
Who knows of the hidden room?
Order and method. That is...
Some of these connections are just so fucking
Is there
obnoxious.
something I am... I cannot see the logic in this. I must take a different approach if I am... I must act on thought and...
So some hidden room. Is it these two?
This will not get me any
Is it okay, these two?
Magnifique.
Like, that is the dumbest connection. She stole the key, and she asked us to the safe. Oh my god. Inge is trying to uncover secrets. Oh my god, you are such a genius. And this is connected to the hidden room.
What a revelation!
Oh my god. You're so smart. What a revelation. You should praise yourself more. Oh god, I
Is
gotta
there
talk to you
something
again.
need, Detective?
What else have you related to the Comtesse?
That's all. I swear. I heard Monsieur Archie and Monsieur Felix talking about a storeroom, but I haven't found it.
Is the Countess aware of this room?
I told her it was somewhere in the house, but I didn't know where. She wasn't happy with me that I hadn't found it yet.
I believe if young Inge knew the location of the secret room, she would have been forthcoming with it. Maybe being naive on my part, but she has already incriminated herself and has nothing else to
Merci,
lose.
mademoiselle.
I suppose that I will.
That is not my decision to make. But when the whole truth is revealed, it will not be the pawns the law looks to convict. We shall be coming for the queen.
Oh god, I hate this guy so much. Like, maybe he dies in this game and like we never have to see this guy again. Bond Bosch secrets may be in the hidden room. Where do we gotta link this to? Probably with the family wishing to leave.
I cannot see the logic in this.
Nope. Obviously, it's gotta be something stupid. Staff, new family is hiding something.
Order and method.
God. It's like when you're in the middle of a game that could
I
be
must
well
act on
made,
thought and fact.
and it's just like, kill me. Just
Things
kill
are
me.
beginning to be.
So Comtesse is the black metal because of this. Sure. Except when we find out it's not her. And we're super surprised. Angeline.
Mademoiselle, merci for coming.
Have you had a breakthrough, Detective?
I have. Finally, I have the news you have awaited.
Please, Detective, don't hold me in suspense.
I have finally uncovered the identity of the one holding the Van de Bush name to ransom.
Oh my, I feel faint at the thought of knowing who could have done this to us.
Except I'm probably wrong because I'm an idiot. With a dumb mustache.
It is
And
said to keep your friends
a dumb
close, but
haircut.
your enemies closer. It is Comtesse de Vos that is behind the letters.
I don't believe it. What about the Major's letter?
Not only his, but a letter to Monsieur da Silva.
She was blackmailing him as well. Detective, I just don't know what to say.
You're wrong, detective.
Take a moment, mademoiselle. It is a lot of information to take in.
I just don't understand why she would do such a cruel thing. She has never been particularly forthcoming with it, only that she was homeless for some time and that she was at the women's shelter before here.
And it is there that the Countess abused her power and manipulated her to uncover secrets of the family.
How would she uncover half these secrets, though?
All this time she has been working for Margot, doing her dirty work.
I am afraid so, mademoiselle.
I agree with none of these conclusions.
Is Maman aware?
You are the first I have told, mademoiselle. Next will be the authorities.
I'm afraid that we'll have to wait.
C'est la plate, mademoiselle. We must go through the correct channels.
And we will. I want to see her punished to the fullest extent of the law. But we cannot telephone anyone as the lines are still down.
Monsieur Archibald informed me earlier I had hoped they would be working again. Last night's snow must have caused more damage than expected.
Last night? They have been done all weekend, Detective. Detective? Are you okay?
Oh, now he's realizing the fake phone call from earlier. Oh, someone's there. Yeah. Oh, you are a fucking moron. You are not a good detective.
Detective Poirot?
It was all a lie. A scene acted out for my benefit. Throw me off the scent. But if I believed the Major was still alive at that time, I had no reason to investigate anyone's whereabouts beforehand. Anyone being Monsieur Sterling and his staff. Kill me. Kill me.
Would you like me to fetch you a glass of water, Detective?
My apologies, mademoiselle. I was taken by surprise for a moment, but I have regained my composure. A glass of water is not required. Would you excuse me?
Oh, this game is so predictable.
Merci, mademoiselle.
Yeah, is it Archie? Oh my god, never caught that. Surprise! Ah! My patience has grown thin, yes, blah blah blah. But no more, we shall see Monsieur Sterling and his staff fare under some pressure. God. This story is such garbage. It started out so good. The first story was good. The prologue was, I thought, fairly good. It has turned to complete garbage. Elizabeth is on her way to see me, but at such a late hour.
Mademoiselle, what a pleasure to see you.
Detective,
Why are your eyes evil?
It is a rather late hour to be wandering the halls.
Oh, yes, of course. I do not feel myself, Detective.
If that is the case, you should be resting. Allow me to help.
No, that's quite all right. I will see to my duties and return to bed.
Lizzie, excuse me, Elizabeth. Lady Van den Bosch has been waiting for some time now.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Detective Poirot was just...
I'll see to the detective. You just head on up. Off you go.
Good night, Detective.
Bonne nuit, mademoiselle.
I'm sorry about her, Detective. As you can see, she is still not back to her usual bubbly self.
This weekend seems to have taken quite a toll on her.
She'll be right as rain in a couple of days. Now, what can I help you with?
As if by magic you appeared when needed. I would like to speak with you and the remaining staff. If you could gather them in the staff pantry.
At this hour, Detective? Is that really necessary?
Yes.
I shall be the one that determines what is and what is not necessary, and this is very much the former.
You could have literally answered that with one word. Yes.
As you wish, Detective. I'll see if Inge has finished preparing for...
And Mademoiselle Rihanna?
Yes, of course. I'll fetch her from the kitchen. Elizabeth may be some time with the lady of the house. Perhaps you'd like to start with us?
Very well. I shall speak with Mademoiselle Elizabeth when her duties are complete.
While I am gathering the staff, Mr. Beckers is in the library. If you wish to join him, I could bring you both a nightcap.
I wish to keep a clear head.
Probably
But
poison.
There is something I wish to discuss.
Yeah, my issue with this game has moved away from game design to terrible story writing, which may be based on the actual books, which makes me probably a monster. But yeah, that's where we are. These are probably very beloved. These are very beloved novels, I guess. But they're terrible.
Monsieur Beckhaus, it is rather late. The other guests have already retired to their rooms.
I didn't even see the time. It's easy to lose oneself in a library this impressive.
That is something we can agree on, monsieur.
I suppose I should be heading.
Un moment, monsieur. There are some matters that we must discuss.
Oh, what is it, detective?
You are a what we call a poussé.
I'm not sure what you mean.
A proposal to make you somewhat of a star, a figurehead for the working man. What would you call that?
There was certainly no talk of making me a star. That is not the type of man I am. She wanted to write a piece on my work with the union, and I was happy to oblige.
Monsieur Beckers has always appeared to have the workers' intentions at the forefront of his decisions. But perhaps the thought of being remembered for something great was too much for him to pass. I understand Del Silva had prepared a deal.
A deal? It was an insult.
And that is why you did not sign it?
I didn't sign it because the workers deserve so much more, not his pathetic attempts to get them back to work.
Did you think there was a chance for a better deal to be made?
I know there was. He's a pompous swine that cares for only himself and filling his pockets.
Yeah, how
My
did that
speech?
speech go?
I'm not sure what speech.
You may save your false ramblings for your next audience. I am aware you spoke with the Major yesterday.
Whoever told you that has it wrong, detective.
Please, monsieur. The truth.
Okay, fine. Yes, the Major and I spoke, but it was not for long. I was trying to convince him to speak with Ernesto. It's time we brought the strikes to an end.
And that was best approached by a shouting match?
He wouldn't listen to what I said. I spent so long preparing how I was going to convince him, but men like him are only swayed by one thing: money.
It is said that money is the root of all evil, but it can also be a rather powerful bargaining chip.
Well, he was bargaining with people's lives. If he had acted sooner, none of those men, my men, would have to die.
Mademoiselle Conrad can be quite convincing, can she not?
She has certainly taken several wealthy business partners by surprise with her knowledge and prowess. She knows how to use her womanly powers to get what she wants.
But she did not surprise or use you?
Me? Used me? Don't be ridiculous, detective. There were no games played at my expense.
Alright, so we gotta pump his ego up. Yeah, let's go suggestive.
Perhaps some, but I'm not so easily manipulated or simple-minded.
You claim that you refused Del Silva's deal as it was not adequate to your men.
And I stand by that. It was an insult.
A rather bold move to make such a decision on your own.
Now we're breaking through. Let's go with the honest. I'm not gonna... Yeah.
I may not be perfect, but I've done everything I can.
Your efforts fell short in every respect. You claim to be the voice of the people, but you care about no one's voice or benefits but your own.
It's not as easy as just signing a piece of paper, detective. It is a heavy weight to bear on one's shoulders. I consulted with others.
Yeah, you did.
You yourself spoke of Mademoiselle Conrad's cunning in business.
And I told you, I was not one of her targets.
Tell me then, What was it she reminded you of? The acclaimed man of the people you would be known as if you pushed the factory owners for more?
It wasn't like that at all.
From where I am standing, it was she that was manipulating the terms of the deal, and you in the process. You were merely her pawn.
Okay, yes, I know. I shouldn't have listened to her. But what else could I do? Remain an unknown my whole life? I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt.
It may not have been your intention, but we both know the result. You rolled the dice with those men's lives for fame, and you lost.
What does that have to do with anything?
I have often wondered about the competition siblings face in a large family.
When you're young, it is the best feeling to know you have family that will stand by you, without even being asked. It is not until everyone starts carving their own path that you realize you're walking yours solo, and those that were beside you are now miles away. My older brothers were the athletes of the family. They both played soccer, and were the infatuation of every teenage girl. I'm sure you have seen the type.
Oui, monsieur, but I can assure you that was not I.
You seem like a soccer
Then there was
girl.
me. Quiet, timid, a shadow of the Becker brothers. My voice and very presence was forgotten and ignored. Nothing I could say or do would ever reach the bar they had set. But I always knew I was destined for great things. Years passed, and now that I no longer stood in the colossal ombre of my brothers, I could become my own man. When the position of union leader was posted, it was my chance to finally be heard. You hear politicians speak of the little or the common man? Well, that was me. And I knew what we wanted and what we needed. When I spoke, others listened. I held their gaze with a sense of pride, a sense that what I was doing was for the greater good. It was supposed to be my crowning achievement, lead the men to victory over the money-grabbing oppressors. But instead, all I did was lead them to their deaths.
Monsieur, it was not at your hands that these men died. The blame cannot lie solely on your shoulders. Those responsible will be punished for their crimes. That you must trust.
Oh, I hope I never have to talk to you again. You are a bore. Yeah, can we jump out a window? This place has so many windows we can jump out of. No. Staff living quarters, which I believe is on the first floor. Alright, before you do that, I will take a couple minute break and I'll be right back. All right. Let's continue. This is a cozy place. They have logs. I mean, what else do you need? They have some globe that's glowing for whatever reason. It's witchcraft, obviously. I'm not sure why they have a random globe.
Huh.
Nice jacket. Reads FH, Felix Hagen. Interesting.
Oh.
A war battle that is soon to belong to the Major.
Detective, what can we do for you?
You can help me by telling the truth, and in the process, help yourselves.
Sorry, Detective. It's a bit late in the night for riddles.
It is no riddle, monsieur. If I do not receive the truth, you shall all be charged as accessories to murder.
Detective, I think maybe you have been locked in this house for too long. We have already...
You have told me a version, and now I require honesty.
And drink. Someone pour me a drink? Alright, what do we got? Major's coat. You go outside the Major outside. Oh, this is the coat.
Some would say a lucky guess.
See, that was a good one. So they were faking his alibi. Where's the other one though? Like when they link, it's good.
Is there something?
Okay, didn't think it was those two, but wait, it's with this.
Come, my little grey cells.
Elizabeth's upset.
I must take a different order and method.
It's gonna be one of these new ones. I think that's what we have with new ones.
I must take a different approach.
Definitely be involved in murder and involved with boots.
Come, my little grey cells.
No. Staff involved with murder.
Is there something I am?
Or maybe you
I
go.
must act on thought and.
See, this is where the linkage becomes stupid because this literally could connect with anything. Okay.
This will not get me any closer to my
He
goal.
saves the phone call. I was just anything to do with boots. I feel like this has to do with the boots. War metal that soon belongs to the Major.
I cannot see the logic in this.
What do we get here? Rihan claims she took ice to the Major. Which could be a lie.
I should not be surprised by my.
Yeah, staff faked to death. Okay. Which is so surprising. Oh my gosh. Didn't see that coming.
Monsieur Sterling, is there anything?
I'm not sure what you think I have...
Let us know.
The telephone call.
From his associate. I've already told you, Detective. I don't know who it was.
Do not worry yourself on such details now. I suppose they were lucky to have called when they did. Otherwise, they may not have gotten through at all, with the telephone lines being down as of yesterday.
Aye, Detective. Lucky, I guess.
Monsieur Sterling is no fool. I believe he is aware I suspect him. You were the last to see the Major alive, when you brought him the whiskey. Correct?
Whiskey?
You took a bottle of whiskey to the Major. You spoke with Monsieur Demire en route.
Aye, of course. It was a bottle he picked up from his last visit to Scotland. Rather smoky number from the Highlands. He was saving it for a worthy occasion. Drowning his sorrows must have been fitting enough.
Ah, you are wrong, because most of the Smokies are from the islands and not from the Highlands. You are a dumbass, Archie. At first, he does not remember a bottle at all, and by magic, he recalls the exact details, which are wrong details. They might be right back then, but...
Or was it the one from the West Coast? You'll have to excuse my memory, Detective. It's
yeah,
not what
smoky ones come from the Highlands. They all, from what I know. Can you explain why a medal belonging to the Major was amongst your belongings?
Oh, you found it. Thank you, Detective. I've been looking everywhere for it.
Yeah, after I murdered him and
If
took
I
it
had
from him.
lost a war medal, I would not stop until I found it.
It's not what you think. I was...
Exploiting a dead man's military achievements for your own personal gain?
Nothing of the sort. He asked me to clean them up. I must have dropped it into my pocket when I was putting them back. An honest mistake.
Is that really a way to pathetique? Is that a French way for saying pathetic? I cannot claim to be an expert, but I would presume a medal like that would be of quite some value.
I wouldn't know. Probably.
Your father was in the military for many years. That is what you told me.
He was.
And your family still keep his medals?
They were sold.
And why was that, monsieur?
Is my family on trial now, Detective?
Only you, monsieur. And I repeat my question.
Because we needed money.
Voila.
You claim the Major's asked you to clean his medals for display purposes.
No. He keeps them safe with some of his old military documentation.
Is that a typical job for the head butler?
He trusts me to do a good job. I told him I used to clean my father's, so he asked me to do the same.
And where does he keep these items?
In the storage room. I know where everything is, so it's just easier if I fetch them for him as and when he needs them.
Yeah, the storage room did not have that shit.
It's certainly better than my last.
You are paid a fitting wage for the work that is asked of you?
I'm sure the lady of the house would not want me discussing it, but
That is not the most convincing answer, monsieur.
Between you and I, we all work very hard here, and it would be nice if we were rewarded for it.
Yeah, unfortunately they're all poor.
Please don't go anywhere. If I require more info...
I sure hope I never have to talk to him again. I'll have to talk to him again, though. Alright, we got a new connection here. Madame pays staff very little. Why is Elizabeth upset? Okay. Archibald stole from the Major. Archibald hasn't noticed the lack of calls. Every guy took whiskey to the Major. Oh my god. What dumb connection does it want me to make right now? Is it these?
Order and
No.
method. That... This will not get me any.
Forgot about the whiskey.
Is there something?
Oh, this is literally the worst.
I cannot see the logic in this.
Oh, well, the boots were worn out, so they have
The
no money.
pieces of the puzzle are.
So the boots belong to the staff.
Come, my little grey cells.
Some more of the. Okay, what are these two?
What a revelation!
The staff member dressed in Major's clothes and took his position out in the snow. Okay. I guess I kind of get that reasoning. That wasn't as dumb as the others. Oh, Inge and Rihanna. Oh, let's talk Rihanna first.
Mademoiselle, I shall be as quick and precise with my questioning as possible.
Okay. What do you need?
Condolences.
He was a good man. Taken too early.
Forgive me, mademoiselle, for not extending them earlier, but I was not aware of your relationship.
He was my only brother. And he died doing what he believed was right. If I ever get my hands on who took him from me.
She's angry. Okay. Alright. Oh, she was at. His brother was at the
You
riots.
say the riots, but it was the strike he was part of. They started the riots, not the workers.
By they, you are referring to the security forces. They were brought in to keep the peace.
Security, huh? They were brought in to make an example of them. It was all peaceful until they arrived.
Why would they need to make an example?
So that the workers would stop rallying. No one is going to go on strike if they think they'll get killed. The security you talk of were armed and ready. The workers were pigs to the slaughter. What chance did they have?
What accent are you doing? Pardon moi, mademoiselle. I know they have spoken of this, but you took ice to the Major? Correct?
Yes.
This was before or after Archibald took him a bottle of whiskey.
Before.
You are sure?
Why would you bring him ice before the whiskey?
It may have been after.
The whiskey is kept in the cellar with all the alcohol.
It is.
Then you must have noticed him going into the cellar and returning with a bottle through the pantry, no?
Yes, I suppose I did. It must have been before then.
Merci, mademoiselle.
Alright, what stupid connection do I even have? Okay, she believes workers stand chance. Unsure about timings. It's just the fact they're involved in these murders?
I must act on thought and...
No. Forgot he took whiskey. And they're unsure about timings.
Another success.
They're both unsure about their stories. Staff may be involved.
I must take a different approach if I am... Come, my little grey cells. I must take a different approach if...
It's gonna be this because this is the only one that unlinked that gives us a new link. These two.
I should not be surprised by my...
Archibald and Rihanna fabricated the story. So So they may be involved in murder.
Order and method.
No.
That
Apparently, no. We gotta jump through some other hoops first. This with the phone call.
I must act on thought.
Workers didn't stand a chance.
This will not get me any closer.
No. Okay. Workers didn't stand a chance. No. They fabricated the story because they're
I
not
cannot
paid a
see
lot.
the logic in this. Perhaps
Is this to do with the fabrication?
some would say a lucky guess.
Okay. What is this link? Okay, I don't understand why your brain cells think that's a thing, but
Things
whatever.
are beginning to become.
Okay, thank God I'm done with that. That was painful. Okay, we have 2 links right now. Let's figure them out before we move on. Okay, a staff member impersonating the major. Rihanna distraught of Luke. There was a staged phone call. Staffer involved in the murder. Elizabeth mourns Luke, so maybe these two.
Magnifique.
So they both miss Luke. Okay. Ingay is disconnected from the mall. So maybe these two.
Is there something I am?
Maybe it's these two.
I cannot see the logic in this. Is there something I...
Okay, maybe it's... No. No.
I must take a different approach.
Where would Ingay's connect to? It's gotta be hers, right? But she's disconnected from her peers.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
So she's not part of the cover-up. That, okay. So, okay. That's how my brain had to figure that out. They've clearly obvious things.
Mademoiselle, I shall keep my questions brief.
I don't know what else I...
You have been honest with...
Oui, detective. It was frantic in the pantry. We were working hard to make sure. Then Liz burst in, asking for Mamore's help.
Her help with what, exactly?
I don't know. She took Liz to one side, and I was needed in the salon. We spoke just after that in the pantry.
So the most innocent one is the one that was supposed to have been brought here as a spy?
You did not question what she needed help with?
I was too busy. I love Liz, but she sheds a tear at almost everything these days. Although, I have never seen her look so pale.
Merci.
So, did Elizabeth get her dad murdered? No.
This will not get me any closer to... Order and method. That...
So, Rihanna helped Elizabeth after coming downstairs. I have no idea what this connection is supposed to be.
Come, my little grey cells.
Not
I
sure
must
why that
act
would be
on
the
thought
two,
and-
but
This will not get me any closer to...
it's one of these two.
Order and method. I must take a different approach. Is there something...
Why would that?
Come, my little Grace.
That doesn't make sense. None of these make sense.
I must act on... I cannot see the logic in this.
Let's think about this. Elizabeth helped Elizabeth's coming downstairs.
Come, my little Grace Alice.
Oh. If she looked white because the Major showed up when he was already dead? No. That's not one we can search.
This will not get me any closer. I cannot see the logic in...
Okay, well, it has to be this one then. Why would she look white?
I must act on thought. Magnifique.
Let's look white. Does Elizabeth look pale and the other men of the staff were busy with their duties? She must have found the body. What? What? Okay, wait. She saw Elizabeth look pale, so Elizabeth found the body. She found her looking pale somehow links her to the body.
Order and
Am
method.
I just a bad
That
detective? I just think I'm a bad detective. That's the only thing that makes sense here. Okay, we have another linkage.
I must take a different approach.
I believe this is some stupid shit.
What a revelation!
Rihanna helped Elizabeth after coming downstairs. Though her duties are primarily focused in the kitchen and pantry, no one recalls seeing her. So Elizabeth found the body first. Now we have two linkages.
Another success.
So Archibald covered for someone from the staff. Someone who impersonated
Is
the
there
Major.
something?
Oh.
I must take a different approach. Is there something I am not... Come, my little Grace Alice.
This game has made me feel so dumb. So fast.
I must act on thought. Order and method. That is...
Well, it has to be this one.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Okay. So Archibald staged the phone call for Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is the one that murdered the Major, who's was her father.
This will not get me any.
And then we have some other linkage.
I cannot see the logic in
I
it.
have no idea what to connect now. This is such a
I must
convoluted
take a
mess.
different approach.
Like, did they just take the story
I cannot see the
like
logic
arc
in this.
that was written
Ah,
and was made into a game, not realizing how much they differ?
is there something?
This is unfucking believably terrible.
This will not get me. I must act on.
Did they playtest this at all? Alright, what am I even doing right now?
Come, my little Grace.
So some other association I have to make here.
Order and method.
I've lost track of whatever elements can even link.
I must act on.
This is fucking terrible.
Come, my little Grace.
This is like worse than any point and click adventure mechanic
there
I've ever
something-
seen. Like, if it works well, 'cause I remember the Sherlock Holmes game
Order
that
and method.
fairly
That
recently
is
came
the
out
way to.
was not that bad. This
Things are beginning to
is
become.
okay. That was actually probably pretty good. I'm just in an annoyed manner. Apparently, I gotta go back to my room. Oh, am I supposed to be thinking about things? Oh, so apparently now that I'm in my office, I have new things. Defensive strike. Potential murder weapon.
I cannot see the logic in this.
Okay, what the hell does they want me to do now? Like, why do they... They had such a, like... There were such good possibilities with this game. But then there are such bad designs. The poker again.
I must take a different approach.
Like, you literally need me to connect. The win does not come with an aggressive strike. More like a defensive strike. So, I mean, I have to connect every
This will
murder
not
weapon
get
to
me
this
any-
because what does that mean?
Come, my little gray cell.
Do any of these actually connect? Maybe I just do instruments in general.
Order and method. That
Like this part is just
this will not get me any closer to.
so apparently it's not this connection,
Is there something I?
which is fine. Rihanna was covering Elizabeth. Who, what, and why? Who is the culprit?
I cannot see the logic in it.
Okay, what instrument was used by the culprit? So,
I must take a different approach.
do we connect to all instruments? Like, why would this
I
be
must
here
act on
if it did not want us connected to something? Like, it's stupid. Why? Why did the culprit do this? Oh, God, I hate this so much. How? How did this crime occur? Is it one of these?
This will not get me any.
Maybe it's like how it was
I
unobstructed.
cannot see the
No.
logic in this.
Not a simple burglary.
Order and method. That
Okay. Who? Staff were involved. Is the who we want to connect to this?
I must take a different approach.
Yeah. See, this is the underlying issue.
Is
of the
there
game.
something-
It's so obtuse at this moment. Like there's supposed to be some unknown linkage here, but it could be, it's kind of in the straight line, so it's to link up in a certain way, but not necessarily. It could be anything.
Come, my little gray cells.
Well, you know what? I don't even need it right now, unless I'm supposed to. Yeah, maybe I have to before I leave the room. I'm supposed to figure out who, what, and why right now. Yeah. Alright, I have to figure out this one linkage. There's one random linkage in this mess to move the story on. It's such bad design. So we have all these motives. They're supposed to be defensive strike. Can't link that with anything over there. Do we do that with the what?
I must act on
And the why? The what? Let's try the what.
Come, my little gray cell.
Make no sense with the who. Okay, what else we got? When? Do we link it was compromised? The when?
Order and method.
Because we know the time is not what we thought it was.
This will not get me any.
Alright, open window. Open bruise, single stab wound. Stage phone call. Rihanna was covering.
Some would say a lucky guess.
Oh, that immediately points to Elizabeth being murderer? Sure. I am... Really? I don't get it. Someone else can explain to me why Elizabeth is the murderer here. Damn straight the truth. Okay, we're gonna look for an elephant. I hope this is more fun. Elephant? Hello? I'm guessing the elephant did it at this point. That makes most sense. Why would Monsieur Sterling be in here clattering around in the dead of night? Man, this game was so promising, and then it turned into
Monsieur Sterling.
such garbage.
Oh, Detective, I was just...
Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
A butler's job is never...
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, Detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls. I just wanted to see them again.
Both you and Mademoiselle Rihanna risked your freedom to help Elizabeth.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then.
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, Detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
You helped in murder.
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
Exactly.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Yeah.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
Why would I fake a telephone call?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow, to allow not only the guests but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, Detective.
I know, monsieur, but I also know that you helped the one that did to cover their tracks.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it. The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are?
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
Oh, I wonder what is hiding. Could it be those scratches on the floor?
I need a moment.
This is, oh my god, so surprised. Okay. Seriously? You're not gonna notice the scratches on the floor? I have to look over here.
Aha.
I can't find anything except for these. Oh my god. Will you look at the floor? Patience. Patience. I have to link them first.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming to... I should not be surprised.
Oh, we did everything. We made all the deductions. Woo! I missed something apparently. He hid something in the room. What could it be? This furniture looks weird. Oh my god, a hidden room. Whoa.
Huh. Oh.
Oh, lighter. From cigarettes. Woo. I declare that I, Viscount Edwin von de Bosch, am of sound mind. This last will expresses my wishes without undue influence or duress. Oh, yeah, it's just a will and testament. Okay.
Oh.
Is it got blood on it? No, you're not even tell me. You're not even going to tell me if there's blood on the knife in the super hidden room. Oh, God. Lighter.
I cannot see the logic in this.
I don't know what this is.
I must act on...
Yeah, what are we doing here? Military knife. Unrecognized symbols. I'm assuming that's the blood on it.
Is there something I...
Oh, is it the rose graven?
Another success.
Okay, this nice something then.
Magnifique.
Okay. And we have one other connection. Formal letter. Look.
I must take a different approach.
I feel like it's not anything to do with the major. Luscious belongings. Guardianship of Madame. Oh, major killed Princess of War. Oh, I don't remember reading that, but it's pretty important. Military box. Empty canteen. War map. Military box. None of that makes any use to me. Yeah, okay, the Viscount left everything to Angeline under the guardianship of Madame. Major was building his militia. Does it have to do with money? Do these two?
Come, my little Grace.
I don't doubt it, but
I must act on...
I want to say the Major contacted his old friends. We're going with the knife. Okay. Bloodstains.
What a revelation!
That was less complicated than it needed to be. Alright, Archie. Don't completely understand why any of this happened, but we will go with it. We will go with it.
There is no use lying anymore. He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elizabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Fleurette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elizabeth. You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
Oh my god, you are not that great, Mr. Poirot.
I couldn't just
You are
leave
an
it
idiot.
at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her? She didn't plan any of it, Detective. She was only defending herself.
Oh, that's a lie. Because you faked a phone call. This is all a lie.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
No, you planned all of this. There's no way you planned all of this if she just murdered herself in self-defense.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
No, none of this is true.
I need a moment.
Oh my god, none of this is true. If you don't see this, it's all lies. They are lying to you. Oh god, what bullshit thing do I need to connect together? Archibald was in the garden. Archibald claims the major attacked Elizabeth. Lighter from the garden used belonged to Archibald. Would that mean?
Is there something I am...
What the fuck do you need me to connect right now? These are the only two new things. No. So is the lighter? No, I think it's only these two. Usher claims major attack Elizabeth.
I must take a different approach if I... This will not get me any... I cannot see the logic in this.
What does the open window have to do with anything?
Some would say a lucky guess.
What else did Archibald collect from the garden? The murder weapon?
Things are beginning to become...
I still don't think that it was self-defense.
There is no use lying anymore. When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
That does not explain what you were doing out there.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly, I don't know.
Are we done? We're done.
There is no use lying anymore. Why what? Why I would...
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, detective. I would do anything for her. For any of my staff.
Even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law?
Without
As that once with you, your morning duties for the ladies of the house are complete. Mademoiselle Rihanna and yourself wait in the staff quarters.
Aye, detective. But please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all...
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty, monsieur. It is the law.
Yeah, and you... this is all staged. This was not an accident. There is no way this was an accident. You staged someone outside to pretend to be him. I don't get... this is so not the truth. Obviously, she's mad about Luke. Okay, I get that. But then who is the blackmailer? Was it Elizabeth?
Order and method. This will not get me any closer to... Magnifique.
Major was desperate for a well-paid job. That would link to security type first.
Come, my little
Something to do with the
Grayson.
security.
I cannot see the logic in this.
Ah, these two.
I should not be surprised by my...
The major needed to ensure the job was done. Security type first.
What a revelation!
Okay, that one's easy. Major ordered the attack at the strikes. That killed Luke.
Things are beginning to become...
See, this isn't too bad, even though it's still terrible design. And this has to do with Elizabeth being murdered.
Another success.
Okay, we got one link down. One more to go. I don't think he has anything to do with
The
this.
pieces of the puzzle are fine.
But, okay. I don't know how she would have known that. She had access to the safe, maybe? How did we know that? I don't remember how we found out about that.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep.
Please, Detective, I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
Because they probably didn't do it?
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elizabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
It had to be premeditated. No one puts this much effort into something that was spur of the moment.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
Oh, I hate this story so much.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, Detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Starling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
Not Elizabeth, but Monsieur Starling.
I wasn't.
It was Monsieur Starling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the family.
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there, and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea.
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Dishonorably? What does that mean? Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, Detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew him. Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told her story.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea.
Please, Detective.
I will offer Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elizabeth?
Of course.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth, merci for joining us.
Miss Angeline said you requested to see me urgently.
We have some serious matters to discuss, and I would like to waste no further time.
Oh, still not quite myself.
I was surprised
How
when
are
Mr.
you?
Sterling hurried.
Really?
I should not have avoided my duties for so long.
That is true.
Yes, that is where he spent his last moments. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow workers.
The resulting riots were a terrible tragedy. One that I hope we will not have to see or experience again. Something that could have been avoided had the Major and his team done what was required of them.
Nobody deserved to die that day. Not my Luke. Have you been able to uncover who the blackmailer is?
The blackmailer's identity has been established.
Wonderful news, Detective. You can put it all behind you now. You must be thrilled.
I would not say thrilled, knowing that such a close friend has betrayed us.
Mademoiselle is correct. What I have learned over this weekend is that people are not always as they appear.
Yes, so
While they
you
may give
blackmail
an
them,
impression of being a
and
friend
then you
or
are
ally,
innocent of
they can in
murder?
fact be...
And, what of the Major's killer?
Well,
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say, Detective.
your honest opinion is all I ask, and, s'il te plaît, do not hold back.
We only spoke when there was something in the house to be done. We did not speak of interests or pastimes.
You knew of his work with Monsieur de Silva?
I only know what is required of me to know, and that is very little.
But you were aware of his work as security at Monsieur de Silva's factory.
I was.
The factory your beloved Luke worked at before he was cruelly taken from this world.
Yes, Detective. Detective, what kind of question is that?
It is a straightforward one. Mademoiselle, if there is something you wish to tell me, now is that time.
I'm sorry, Detective, I just don't know how to answer it.
Let us consider what we know of the Major. He fronted the militia that attacked the workers at the strike. You were aware of this? You finally had someone to blame for Luke's death. Someone conveniently located in the same house, alone in his study.
No, Detective. It wasn't like that.
Tell me what happened with the Major on the evening of his death.
I was only in here trying to prove what I heard Mr. Beckers say. I was going to report him, I swear. Miss Angeline, you believe me, don't you?
I want to. I am still trying to understand it all myself. Why don't you start from the beginning?
I was delivering Miss Angeline's dress to her room when I heard Mr. Beckers arguing with the Major in his study. They were ever so loud. I thought the whole house would have been listening to what they were saying. Mr. Beckers was talking about the factory strikes and how it was the Major's fault. He told him that if he didn't own up to his crimes, he would go to the newspapers.
I cannot imagine the Major would have taken kindly to Monsieur Becker's threat.
He didn't. He called him some rather uncouth names before Mr. Beckers left and went downstairs. I made sure to keep out of sight. After the altercation between the Major and Master Gideon, you went to speak with him outside, and I thought I could look around his study without anyone knowing. I had to know for sure. If it was true, he deserved to be held accountable.
And did you find the proof you are looking for?
I found a payment from Mr. De Silva, but there was nothing incriminating about that. I was so nervous. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest.
And then you saw the blackmail note.
I recognized the writing on the envelope. I couldn't believe it. How could he do such a thing to Angeline? To the family that had taken him in?
Common sense would determine the Major was another victim of the blackmailer.
If I'd have used common sense, I wouldn't have been snooping around alone in his study in the first place. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and before I could move, the Major was standing in front of me, demanding to know why I was going through his belongings without permission. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came out, and when he saw the letter in my hand, it was like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. I tried to move around him towards the door, but he hurled something towards me, and it crashed against the wall.
That would explain the damage to the wall.
I froze. I have never been so scared in all my life. I thought he was going to kill me there and then.
And you thought you would beat him to it?
Oh, Detective, you make it sound as though I had it all planned. He lunged forward and grabbed me by the arm. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. His grip just got tighter and tighter. If only you had seen the look in his eyes, I dared not even scream. I saw the sheath on his belt. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to hurt him, but he wouldn't let go of me.
So you took your opportunity to put an end to it all.
I just wanted to get him off me. I didn't want to hurt him. I reached for it and I jabbed it at him. His grip instantly loosened and I ran straight out the door and didn't look back.
You did not even look to see what state you had left him in?
She had just been attacked, Detective.
Oui, please. Continue.
I ran down to the pantry looking for Rahana.
Okay, this is good. This is good.
She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. I explained to her what had happened and she went to find Archie. She said he would know what to do. We went back to the study and he was still lying there, motionless. Archie said that no one would believe me. That if someone like me killed someone like him, I would be sent straight to the gallows. He left the letter so you would find it. He said that if people knew what the Major was really like, then they wouldn't care what happened to him.
So I am to believe that it was Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that cleaned the scene and orchestrated a plan that included a fake telephone call and dressing as the Major so that he may be seen. You had nothing to do with that.
I swear I had no idea that is what they had done. Archie just told me to stay out of sight. I am no master criminal.
Then Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna will be charged for obstruction of justice and impeding my investigation.
Please, Detective, they were only trying to help me.
If they wished to help you, they should have brought all of this to my attention immediately instead of committing more illegal acts.
Oh, like you helped last time, Mr. Poirot?
Surely you haven't forgotten what happened with Fleurette. She was only accused of stealing a bracelet. I killed a man.
It is a day I have not forgotten, mademoiselle. Even for a moment.
Without your help, I don't stand a chance. Please, Detective Poirot, You are the only one that can help me.
Oh, Elizabeth, why didn't you come to me?
I didn't think you would believe me. I felt so guilty. And when it was announced yesterday that he was a victim of the blackmailer, I wanted to tell you everything. I came to find you last night, Detective, but Archie stopped me.
Okay, so we don't know who the blackmailer is still. Alright, what dumb connection do we need? Stab major. Let her go.
Order and method.
No.
That is the way
apparently.
to... Is there something I am not...
What dumbass connection do you need me to make so I can end this?
I must take a different
nightmare. We can't. Alright, here we go. There's something there. Why? Do we think it was revenge somehow?
I must act on thought. This will not get me any closer.
How?
I cannot see the logic in it. I must act on thought and...
Oh, I gotta look this up. I do not have any more desire to click through these buttons and figure out this bullshit. What do we got? First cases. Alright, we're at the end here, pretty much. No. Archibald. So something to do with the staging. Archibald staged the phone call. Where is this one even at? Okay, so that created this one. We're further on, okay. Defensive strike. Elizabeth staged. Stabbed the major when he wouldn't let her go. Okay, so. these two.
Some would say a lucky guess.
Yeah, but that's assuming Margot is telling the truth. Who? Sure.
Oh,
But we still
yes,
don't
Detective.
understand the blackmail.
I don't know where it is.
If you have been honest with me until now, I ask that you continue.
I'm sorry, I really don't know. Archie dropped it out of the study window and he said he would deal with it. I couldn't bear to touch the thing. Please, I was only protecting myself. I didn't want to hurt him. He just wouldn't let me go.
Oui, mademoiselle. Mademoiselle tells quite the harrowing story.
I cannot imagine the Major acting in such a way. But Elizabeth could not make up such a story.
After learning what I have about the Major's character this weekend, I would not question the lengths he would go to in order to keep his secret hidden. I know that you share a close bond with Mademoiselle Elizabeth, but you cannot allow your personal feelings to taint your belief of what took place.
She has committed a terrible crime, but she will live with that for the rest of her life. She is not a cold-blooded killer.
If what she says of the Major's attack is true, she acted in self-defense, and in the law's eyes, a crime has not been committed. I will do everything I can to make sure her story is heard and a fair trial is conducted. Mademoiselle, it is time
Are you sure?
I can assure...
Elizabeth was...
Mademoiselle, when Detective Poirot... Would you ask the guests?
Oh
course.
God, you're
I
such
have
a
told
blowhard.
Monsieur Starling to remain in the staff quarters with the others. You have been of great...
You only need to add.
While I am speaking with the guests in the library,
You don't think she will try?
in her position I do not know what she might try. But I trust with you there.
Oh, that's in the game. You miss one achievement. Wow, but I'll go back and see. Oh, he's gonna be such a douchebag.
Detective, you have spent more time making us sit and wait for you than anything else.
Madame van den Bosch, if you think I have spent my time focused on anything besides uncovering the Major's killer, you are sorely mistaken.
I'm
Oh,
sure
God.
you will be eager to share your findings with us then.
All in good time, Madame. Firstly, to understand the truth of what has occurred this weekend, one must know the timeline of events that not only preceded the Major's death, but succeeded.
We are all well aware of what happened before, Detective. You can save your breath.
You are only aware of what the guilty parties wanted you to believe, but now I shall apprise you to the true events. The reason for us all being here, you know. The altercation between Monsieur Demire and the Major, you know. The body of Monsieur Hagen was found while we were all sat enjoying a most delicious meal. That you also know. But what was kept from us all was that his body lay on the study floor for far longer than was thought.
It was that servant. She found him.
S'il te plaît, monsieur. It was indeed young Inga that found the Major's body lying lifeless in the study.
So it was her.
Monsieur, I will not allow for any further interruptions. I return to the Major's body. If we are to believe the scene that we were presented with, the Major must have been killed during the first course of our meal, a meal that none of you left, even for a moment. Speaking in the evening, you all confirmed one another's alibis, and although there was doubt in the validity of some, I confirmed that they were indeed all true. What I could not understand was how a man came to be found dead, and every guest accounted for at the time of death. That is until I questioned the latter. Monsieur Beckers, I shall now allow you to speak. You saw the Major smoking a cigar in the snow. Is that true?
It is.
False. You saw what you were meant to see. Someone in the Major's coat standing outside, giving the illusion that the Major was still very much alive. Monsieur da Silva, on the afternoon of the Major's death, do you recall hearing a telephone ring?
Now that you mention it, I have not heard a single ring all weekend.
Correct. The telephone lines have been down for the duration of our stay, meaning the telephone call that was received and promptly directed to the Major's study was yet another act of trickery and deceit. But it did not end there. When I entered the study for the first time, it was obvious someone had already been there and falsified the scene to stage a burglary and clear away important evidence, including the murder weapon. What followed was an investigation that had already been hindered. But even those lengths were not enough to derail me for long.
I think we have all had enough of your self-praise, Detective.
Yeah,
Perhaps
me
would like
too.
to tell us who killed him?
Cassandra, I actually like you now.
Madame, as I'm sure you would expect, it is not as simple as that. What many of you do not know is the discussion that was had between the Major and Monsieur Beckers earlier that day.
What has that got to do with anything? I told you I didn't kill him.
That I know to be true. What you do not know is that it was not only his ears that heard your spoken words.
I hope you are not implying I had something to do with it.
No, madame, there was another. Mademoiselle Elisabeth. You are all aware that the Major was hired by Monsieur da Silva to front the security during the workers' strikes. What very few of you know is that it was the Major's order that instigated the vicious attacks on those unarmed men and resulted in numerous deaths, including Mademoiselle Elisabeth's fiancé, Luc. Monsieur Beckers confronted the Major, declaring that he was to hand himself in. That is what Mademoiselle Elisabeth overheard. Now, knowing the truth, she waited until the Major was away from his study. After he stepped outside, following the confrontation with Monsieur Daniel's fist, it looked to be the perfect opportunity, or so she thought. The Major returned and found her looking for the proof she required to hand him over to the authorities.
Oh shit, thanks, man.
If the maid bumped him off, why hasn't she been arrested?
I'm dropping unloading.
The events that followed in the study are not those of a cold-blooded murder, but one of a young girl that had no other option but to protect her own life.
They're on loadout behind you.
Yeah, I
Sounds
got
to
the
me,
one.
Detective, like you have taken a shine to this young girl and would rather protest her innocence than arrest her for murder, the crime she has committed. Jeez,
Really,
this is
Jackie?
gonna make
Oh my
for a
God, you guys are
juicy
crazy.
story.
Really, Jackie?
Mademoiselle, I ask you this. You have seen the Major's anger before, oui?
What if I have?
How do you think he would have reacted if someone was to find proof that he had committed a terrible act, and that if made public, would surely result in his incarceration? Exactement.
So wait, do we know who
It is
committed
quite
the
story you have told,
blackmail
Detective,
yet?
But all I have heard is that Elizabeth overheard a conversation blaming the Major for her fiancé's death, and she murdered him in revenge. A servant killing a man that is as revered as he was. She will face the noose.
Oh god,
I am not denying
you
that
are
the man
a
has
bitch.
lost his life, but it is not the crime of murder that you all believe. While the Major did not deserve to die in such a way, it was his actions towards Mademoiselle Elisabeth that drove her to defend herself in any way she could. Mademoiselle Elisabeth will be punished, but we will let the law decide the severity of her punishment.
She has played you like a fiddle, Detective, acting the innocent victim. She will be arrested and hanged for her crime, like every other cold-blooded killer.
Here.
Give her what she deserves.
The girl has got to pay for what she's done.
Oh god, these people are the worst.
of you that are calling for the hanging of Mademoiselle Elizabeth, have you forgotten the roles you played? Your actions have been far from innocent.
Look, Detective, I see where you are going with this, but it's not going to work. So maybe the strikes were down to De Silva and Beckers. But don't try and drag me into their mistakes.
Mademoiselle Conrad, if you are so confident of your innocence, perhaps we should begin with you.
Okay, you gotta be aggressive. Let's do accusing. You would do almost anything for a headline. Yes, yes, pus.
You don't need to imply it's only me that does. Ask any of my journalists, they'll say the same.
Even if in the process people are hurt?
Yeah, haha.
You knew the situation surrounding the strikes, and only sought to swell the anger in people and create further chaos.
See, this part of the game is well made.
Mademoiselle, you so often have something to say. Now is not the time for silence.
You really are delusional. Maybe you should just keep your theories and claims to yourself.
I do not love any other feel so shameful or forceful. They shame her. This one's a tough one. Nah, I think gotta be forceful.
You obviously have no idea what goes on in my world. I would say stick to honest police work, but it seems that it's not in your field either.
No, frustrated.
You know what it's like to get your
No.
hands dirty, Detective. You can't expect others not to do the same.
Mademoiselle, I do not have time for your excuses. Do you wish to state your direct involvement, or should I?
It's not... Okay, fine. Yes, the story was going nowhere. There was a deal on the table, and it was going to be done and dusted. Everything you said is true. I wanted the story. The scoop that would have blown the others out of the water. I never wanted anyone to get hurt. But I can see what I did wasn't right. I didn't think you had this side in you. I can see now why Angeline asked for you personally. You're not like other cops. It's clear it's the law and doing the right thing through and through with you. If you say it was self-defense, I believe you.
We can't just forget what that girl has done. It's not Jackie's fault, or any of ours, that she decided to do what she did.
Monsieur Beckers, you are the last person I expected to defend Mademoiselle Conrad. We talked only last night, and correct me if I am wrong, but you have already declared the role you played. To me, at least.
Yes, we talked. It's just not fair of you to attack Jackie like that, putting words in her mouth until she succumbs to your plan.
Okay, so he's a pussy, and you were swayed by one that had no part. Yeah, I don't think cynical's a good one.
Detective, I'm afraid you're misunderstood. That is not how it was. It was not my intention for things to escalate as they did. I could not have predicted that would happen. Jackie was documenting everything to do with the strikes. She wanted our story to be heard and wanted to know how I was handling the negotiations.
And you failed, Hugo.
And they were handled by yourself?
Natural.
Sarcastic, yeah.
I was only pushing for what my men deserved, what they needed. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, Detective. Surely you must know that. Nothing is ever simple, Detective. I'm sure you understand that better than anyone.
Yeah, neutral. Yeah, that's a good one.
You're right, Detective. I have tried so hard to deny my part, but I know only too well that my decisions led to the death of those men. I know I cannot excuse what I've done. I just want you all to know that I am not a hateful or malicious man. I only wanted to prove that I was the right man. I have lived in other shadows for so long. I thought I would be able to finally step into the light and be the one that everyone remembered, not forgot. Monsieur da Silva offered me a deal and I turned it down. I thought I was doing right by the workers, but it was only myself I was thinking about.
What more proof do you need? He said it himself. I made a generous offer to reach a resolution, and he turned his nose up at it.
And obviously your studio, where your voice recording was much better than his.
It was not that simple, though. An offer was
God.
made. But Monsieur Beckers and the workers would never have been forced into that position had their working conditions been satisfactory to begin with.
This is outrageous! Do you plan on blaming everyone for doing their jobs? I suppose it makes you feel better about yourself, doesn't it?
Let's insult him, I think. Wait, okay. Let's insult him, yeah.
Me and my decisions?
Nope.
Detective, you are really clutching at thin air. Need I remind you, I am a successful businessman. If you...
That's straightforward.
You said it. Anonymous. I don't know them, and it doesn't sound like they know me. When you have something people want, money, they will do anything, including constructing lies to get their hands on it.
Monsieur da Silva, you seem to have forgotten our previous conversations.
I recall them just...
That's forceful.
Is that what you plan to do? Accuse us all of something until we feel
really
enough guilt that we agree to allow the girl to walk free.
The events that led to the Major's murder are not as simple as you have tried to convince yourself. I have uncovered what initiated both the murder of your workers and of the Major. It is you that refuses to accept the truth.
Apparently anyone can become a detective now. I really don't know how you gained your title.
Through order and...
Order? There's no order in beating down who you consider suspects until they have no other option but to admit something, guilty or not.
Monsieur da Silva, you have stood steadfast, and your opinion on your involvement has not wavered.
Detective, you would do well not to anger my friend.
It was not my intention. Does your position on Mademoiselle Elizabeth's guilt...
Even after all your attempts, Detective, Felix was still murdered. Self-defense or not, she chose to hide what she had done because she knew what she had done was wrong. And she will be punished for it.
It was not choice to hide anything, madame. If in her position, I ask, what would you have done? The Major has already furiously thrown an object at you, barely missing your head, and now has hold of your arm.
I wouldn't have driven a knife into him, that I can tell you for sure. She is no fool. She intended to kill, not to defend.
Alright, so I missed one. I probably have to go back to this bullshit. Let's go with suggest you were close to the Major.
Quite presumptuous of you to assume violence is in his nature.
Putting my own feelings towards the Major aside, he was not an honorable man, at least at some time in his life. He must have been for you to allow him in your house for so many years. So, Even you confirm he had a history of aggression.
You have no idea. He was there for us when we needed him.
You were there for him when he needed free room and board.
That is not the case, and you know it.
His actions are unforgivable and should not be defended by anyone.
You judge him so harshly, but I return the question. What would you have done in his position?
Let's go with and what mistreatment you received.
S'il te plaît, madame. I ask that you consider everything you know of the Major carefully.
He was not always like that. The man that I called a friend would never have done what he has. I cannot allow another innocent person to be punished for his vicious and barbarous behavior.
You have seen the Major act in a similar manner as I described before, haven't you?
Flawlessly? I'm pretty sure I failed that, but okay.
You have convinced me that I am wrong, in both my opinion on Elizabeth's punishment and in the friendships I keep. Is that not enough for you?
Not when a potential crime has been committed, and I fear an innocent party may have been punished for it.
He was just a boy. I told him to stop, but he was like a wild animal.
The confrontation with Mademoiselle Elizabeth was not the first time he has come close to killing another.
It was following the officers' ball. A young man, no older than 16, stopped us on the street, begging for some change. Felix pushed him away, but he was persistent. He only wanted a few coins. Like a flash, Felix snapped and wouldn't let go of him. He would not stop punching him. I have never seen anything so brutal.
But he was never charged for the attack.
Felix called the captain at the station and said that the boy had tried to rob him, and he was merely defending himself. The boy was thrown behind bars without a second thought. It was a full week before the bruises on Felix's knuckles finally faded.
Oh, Felix's knuckles. Oh, poor guy.
And even after witnessing such a brutal assault, you still support him. You still believe that he had not attacked Elizabeth.
The days following, he showed no signs of remorse, no apology to him or to me. I blamed it on the amount he had had to drink. But when you began talking about him finding Elizabeth in his study, I somehow knew it had happened again.
Had you been open about the Major's temper, this could all have been avoided. When you tell the courts the truth, Mademoiselle Elizabeth's self-defense plea cannot be ignored.
Just when I thought I could not see a more spineless move.
Excuse me?
You allowed a bully and thug to remain in your house and endanger your family.
I'm sorry, Margot, but I am struggling to understand why you have involved yourself in this affair.
I'm surprised you can hear me way up there on that high horse of yours.
How dare you speak to me in that way? Who I decide to keep in my house is my decision and no one else's.
I can see that. Murderers, thieves, and extortionists are all acceptable, it seems.
Well, you're the extortionist, right?
Countess, I have talked at length of the Major's death, but not the reason for my invitation in the first place. When I last gathered you all together, I spoke of a blackmail ring that was rife in the area, and then of the letter that the Major had received. Mademoiselle Angeline requested my help personally after she received such a letter threatening her family name. She felt I was the only one that could uncover the truth. And uncover the truth I have.
Get on with it, detective. Who dared try and extort my family and then have the gall to allow me to welcome them into my home?
If it was not for the honesty of a young servant, I would perhaps still be looking for the
For goodness sake, it was me.
Margot, how could you?
While it looked as though the Countess was helping the young women at the shelter, she was in fact only finding them positions of employment in wealthy homes to gather information on them and learn secrets that she would ultimately be able to use against them. Monsieur da Silva fell victim to her network of moles and was in turn blackmailed. It was quite the prosperous setup you had, knowing that they would not be prepared to lose their social standing if a secret was to find its way from where it had been hidden for so long.
That cannot be true, Margot. How could you do such a cruel...
That is rich, coming from you.
You are one of my oldest friends.
High and mighty, Madame Van den Bosch. You think you can do what you wish when you wish it and there will be no repercussions. You are as bad as all of them.
If I do not get a straight answer out of you, I will march you to the police station myself.
I'm surprised it took the Major this long to start living with you. He must have been on the edge for some time.
How dare you speak to me like that? In my own home.
A home you share with the father of your daughter for so many years, and she still remains none the wiser.
Oh, snap! She released it!
You have no right.
Maman,
Angeline? Have you heard what she has admitted to? She is merely trying to make herself...
is what she says true? Felix, he was my father? That is the secret that the letter was talking about, isn't it? You told me that we had nothing to hide. Detective Poirot, were you aware of this?
Oui, mademoiselle. But it was not my place to repeat.
I don't understand. What about father?
Your maman betrayed the love of a good, honest man and played away behind his back and then kept it hidden for all these years like a lady of the night with her client list.
You will say no more. Angeline, I...
Did Felix know?
So terrible.
This is not an appropriate conversation.
He knew, dear girl. He knew the whole time. It is only dear Edwin that was blind to their deceit.
You will not talk of him like that. You will not talk of him at all.
If I don't, who will? You never deserved him. You don't even deserve the memory of him.
Countess, there is something that you still have not explained.
What more is there for her to say?
How long were you in love with the Viscount for?
Margot? Is that true?
We were destined to be together. And then you turned up. And I was all but forgotten about.
But you were nothing more than friends.
And you made sure of that, didn't you? From the day you arrived, it was all about what you wanted and what you had to do to get it. You didn't consider Edwin at all. He was just a purse to you.
I loved my husband, and I miss him every day.
Loved him enough to stray?
Both of you, no more.
Please, Angeline, let me explain.
Maman, I do not wish to hear anything else from you.
Not even your own daughter wants to hear your lies anymore. Cassandra Van den Bosch, all alone.
How dare you!
Yeah, nice, Mr. P there. Just gonna walk out. Oh God, this is.
While I feel a sense of satisfaction and pride in solving both cases, there is still a part of me that is reluctant to revel in triumph. I am content with the unmasking of Comtesse de Vos as the blackmailer, and knowing that she will pay for her crimes. But it is the justice for Mademoiselle Elizabeth that worries me. She will stand in a court of law, and I can only hope that they can see she acted in self-defense. I must trust that our legal system and justice will prevail, and a fair sentencing will be given. In protecting her own life, she took the life of another. Perhaps the guilt she must live with is a greater punishment than any sentence she can receive. Countess de Vos was taken from Nemozinet House in cuffs and placed under arrest. Although she initially tried to plead her innocence, Inga, along with a number of other girls that the Countess had found employment for, came forward and made full statements. She was charged with 5 counts of blackmail and extortion and sent to a house of corrections, where she will have a new life to become accustomed to. Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna were also reprimanded for their participation. While they may not be facing time in prison, tampering with a crime scene and obstruction of a police investigation are certainly not something that houses and new employers will look positively on. Mademoiselle Angeline finally became Madame Demire, and together they took up residence in England, where Monsieur Demire continues to support and fight for fairness and equality in London. I am happy to say that we have remained in contact, and Madame Demire has become a regular correspondent of mine, and the latest joyous news is that they are expecting a child of their own. Madame Van den Bosch showed compassion that I had not seen in her before. She stood in court and gave a truthful and genuine character reference of Elizabeth, as well as describing the Major and the atrocious crimes he had committed. After Madame Van den Bosch's secret was revealed to the world, her position in the social hierarchy was no more, disappearing in a moment. While she still resides in Belgium, I believe she has had to adapt to a far more modest way of life. A humbling experience for her, I am sure. Following her actions in the courtroom, Angeline believed that her maman still had a place in her life. Although they are on different sides of La Manche, they remain in contact. Mademoiselle Conrad left Nemozinet House the same way she entered, confident in herself and audacious in her opinions. Her report of the Major's murder at the house and the surrounding blackmails became one of the most talked about stories of the year. While there were certain details of her own involvement that did not make it to print, she was really quite complimentary about the detective at the heart of the case. Monsieur de Silva tried to continue in his position as factory owner and business entrepreneur, but after his accounts and business dealings were investigated following the details of his blackmail being made public in Mademoiselle Conrad's article, his illustrious business empire began to crumble and is now facing an international corporate investigation. Monsieur Beckers stepped down from his position as union leader, accepting that he was no longer fit to represent the workforce that, in his words, he had let down on a scale of unmeasurable proportion. Although he is no longer the voice of the workers, he continues to support them from behind the scenes. Monsieur Zachariah and his brother made amends, and returning to his family home, and after sobering up, he was able to find the help that he required. I understand that he is now helping fellow soldiers with similar conditions. And Mademoiselle Elizabeth, she stood before a court, and while the proceedings were deemed controversial, the charges against her were dropped, and the reasoning of self-defense was accepted by the presiding judge. Madame Van den Bosch's testimony, along with Mademoiselle Angeline's declaration of her good character, was enough to show that it was not in Elizabeth's nature to act in such a violent way. The abundance of evidence against the Major, and his violent and cruel nature, including his appalling acts during the strikes and the war, was more than enough to prove that Mademoiselle Elizabeth had no other option in that situation but to defend herself in any way that she could. With the new arrival of Madame and Monsieur Demire's child next year, they have agreed to give Elizabeth the opportunity to return home to England and take up a position in their home as nanny. The death of Elizabeth's beloved Luc has been at the center of everything. Had those in positions to help not acted with only themselves in mind, perhaps he would still be alive today, and the Major would have paid the price for his own crimes in the eyes of the law, not at the blade of a knife. The blood of Major Felix Egan will remain on Elizabeth's hands. A stain that wherever she is and whatever she may do, she will never be able to wash clean. However, it will remain as a reminder to not only her, but all of us, of what we as human beings are capable of to protect ourselves. We all have something that may be considered shameful or sinful, and it is how we deal with it that shows our true character. Those involved in the riots, the workers' deaths, and the Major's killing believed themselves to be untouchable. Whether it was from their social standing or their confidence in themselves, they learned that everyone is accountable for their actions. There is no exemption because of the suit you wear or the money in your bank account. There is no price to a man's life. It cannot be bought or traded or discarded. No man is better than another, including Detective Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about this game. It had a lot of good things, but also very, very frustrating in a lot of things. There's a pretty good design here. All right, I'll be right back, and then I'll see what we're doing.